And of course, you see all over the news, everything, you see inflation and you see debt ceiling limits increase and money being printed and sent around the world to people, etc. And it's hard to really understand what's going on, especially when you have some intellectual mouthpieces like Paul Krugman talking about this and trying to explain to you, but it's all wrong. Now, if you watch my main YouTube channel, just the Mark Moss YouTube channel, I like to start off the videos by saying I'm trying to change the way you think about money because almost everything you've learned is wrong. And when you listen to people like Paul Krugman, they're lying to you. So, of course, everything you've learned is wrong because they're telling you the wrong information. We're going to talk about that specifically, but also, what we learn in school is wrong. They don't teach you about the way money works. They don't teach you about the way the financial system works or the banking system works. And of course, they don't tell you how to get wealthy. They tell you how to basically live within this system without disrupting it, without changing the way the system works, and without really getting ahead, which is why, of course, today, about half of all people retiring today, the baby boomers, are broke. They have no money. About half of the people today couldn't come up with $1,000 for an emergency. And so, how's that financial education you've been getting working for you? If half the people retiring have no money, and of the people that do, of the half that do, half of them have less than $100,000, which is not enough to retire off of. So how's that financial education been working? I saw, I think, 50 or 60% of people making over $100,000 per year, which most of you might consider that being rich or well off or something like that. About half of those people report living paycheck to paycheck. So how's that financial education coming for you? It's obviously not working very well. I talked about it on the radio last week in Baltimore and then in Chicago. In Baltimore, it was more about reading. In Chicago, 55 school districts, not one single student, not one, could pass math or reading. So how's that education going for you? So let's talk about this a little bit, and let's explain what's going on. Now, the Treasury, which is the United States government, so we have the Federal Reserve, and we have the Treasury. The Treasury is the United States government. The Federal Reserve is a bank. It's a collection of banks, and it's a private bank. Now, for some of you listening to this, you doubt that. It was set up as a private group of banks. It is recognized and allowed by Congress. So it's quasi-private, if you will. It's really private. It does maintain its autonomy. And they control monetary policy, so they control the banks. The United States government and the Treasury control the fiscal. All right, so that's the money being spent in the government. The Fed just controls the monetary policy, which is interest rates and the amount of the bank's reserves, et cetera. So the United States government, the Treasury, put out a report this last week. It's called the Financial Report of the United States Government Fiscal Year 2022. It's at fiscal.treasury.gov if you want to go read this report. Now, it's 258 pages, so you probably don't want to read all of that, but it's worth a read. So this is directly from the Treasury. This is their own report. And it starts out on the first page with a letter written by Janet Yellen, which, of course, is the head. She's the Secretary of the Treasury, the Department of the Treasury, which, of course, is the United States government. And basically, in this document, surprising that they would actually put this document out. Because in this document, they basically make the case that the government is bankrupt, insolvent, what we'd call a zombie company, and they make the statement that says the path that we're on is not sustainable. That's what it says. So it's pretty interesting that they would put out this information. Now, like I said, everything you've learned is wrong. So typically they're trying to change the story, change the narrative, show you information that maybe misleads you. But in this information, they've basically come out and told you, and like I said, even made the statement that it's not a sustainable path. All right. So we're going to go, what I like to do is go directly to the source. I want to see the source of the information. I want to see what they have to say first before I start listening to other people's opinions of that data. Now, back to Paul Krugman. Paul Krugman is, like I said, kind of the mouthpiece of the Fed, the Treasury. He's the cheerleader that basically says everything they do is correct. And of course, Paul Krugman is not correct. He's never been correct. Paul Krugman is the one who famously said, the internet's impact on the economy has been no greater than the fax machines. The internet's impact on the economy has been no greater than the fax machines. 10 years from now, the phrase, quote, information economy will sound silly. So look, when we have economists, when we have forecasters, when they give us their information, we should take that and pay attention to it. And then we should then, of course, see if that information comes true. So if this is somebody we want to continue to listen to. So, for example, when Al Gore has been going around the world telling us that, I think it was by 1989, the polar bears would be extinct. He said that the ice caps would be gone. By the summer of 2013, in 2009, let's see what he said here. I didn't look this up, but I don't want to get this wrong. Al Gore said in 2009 that the North Pole will be ice-free by the summer of 2013 because of man-made global warming. The polar bears would be gone by 2013. So he said this in 2009. Here we are a decade later, and the ice caps are even bigger than they were before. Polar bears are flourishing more than they ever have. So Al Gore is someone we should not be listening to in regards to climate. And back to Paul Krugman telling us about the economy, it's the exact same thing. He said that the internet's impact on the economy has been no greater than the fax machine, and that 10 years from now, the information economy would sound silly, but yet here we are in the information economy.